Our next speaker is Matt Jones, a manager in the Platform Components Group. In his 6 years as Chipmasters Toastmasters Club member, Matt has earned Distinguished Toastmaster, the highest level in Toastmasters, award 2 times. I want to make sure he got it right that second time. He's working on his 3rd. Served 2 years as a club officer, including a year as club president, and has been a mentor to our current and past president. Matt has also served as our area governor, our district secretary, and is currently our district governor. In his speech titled, The Hidden Benefits of Diversity, Matt will share the story of his evolution from a young Connecticut Yankee to a man of the world, and how communication has been the key to making all of that happen. Please help me welcome Matt Jones.
How many of you, when you were growing up, felt like you didn't fit in? Maybe you felt a little different, a little awkward. Anyone else? Well, not me. I grew up in Chester, Connecticut, arguably one of the richest towns and the richest state and the richest country in the world. My father was a Yale graduate who was an executive for a Fortune 500 company. My mother made my breakfast every morning, and my brother walked me to the bus stop. All my friends were white, and my idea of diversity was a kid with red hair. I thought I was pretty worldly because I ate Taco Bell and chicken fried rice. Now, to me, this is what it meant to live a diverse lifestyle. I love diversity. I embrace diversity. In fact, I took diversity to my senior prom. In this case, diversity is Julie Meyer, who is also the redheaded girl in the previous slide. Now, the problem wasn't that my friends and I all looked the same. The problem was that we all thought the same. But this began to change for me when I moved to Rochester, New York, in RIT. Well, in Rochester, I had friends who were from the city. Now, this, of course, meant New York City. To imply that it could be any other was blasphemy. To me, Rochester was a pretty happening place, but to them it was about as exciting as watching grass grow. My next big shot came when I moved to Virginia to work for the United States Navy as an intern. My roommate was a student at Virginia Tech. Candler was very country, and to him, I was the city kid. He and I got along pretty well, but we still had our differences. My idea of a good time was going to the movies, maybe playing some video games. His idea of a good time was going shooting with his pop. Now, the funny thing was, he was just as surprised that I had never done that before as I was that he does it all the time. I completed my degree and moved to Arizona to work as a circuit design engineer. To me, the difference between the Northeast and the Southwest was like night and day, or more specifically, cold and hot. However, to some of my coworkers, it was much more dramatic than that. You see, for a significant part of my early career, I was the only member of my group who had been born in the United States. This was a big change for me. In just 5 years, I went from being in the majority in every way to being in the minority in every way. I learned a lot from these guys, though. From Lakshmi, I learned that vegetarianism is as much a personal philosophy as it is a dietary restriction. To Lakshmi, the thought of taking a life in any form for food was as distasteful as cannibalism is to me. From Lakshmi, I learned a whole new definition of the term pro-life. From Neil, who is Palestinian, I learned that terrorism is very much a matter of perspective. Previously, it had been very easy for me to say what they do is terrorism, but what we do is freedom fighting. From Neil, I learned an appreciation for semantics. From Cheng Ting, I learned that there is a very big difference between a country's government and its people. I visited China in 2001, and I observed this for myself. From Cheng Ting and through my visit, I learned that there are many different ways of capitalism. Now, unfortunately, what usually passes for diversity is only that which can be photographed. Candler and I look pretty much the same, and Lakshmi and I look very different. But the difference between me and Candler and me and Lakshmi were just as profound. True diversity, the kind that companies say they want, is diversity of thought. Companies need people who can think differently and have the ability to communicate that difference in a way that is meaningful to others. I'm not here to talk about companies, though. I'll leave that to the HR folks who sometimes have to set hiring practices to right past wrongs or comply with federal guidelines. I'm interested in the hidden benefits of diversity that we all too often miss. Communication, which implies understanding, is the key. It's not enough just to surround yourself with people who are different. You need to actually communicate with them. You need to take the time to teach them what is unique about you and to learn what is different about them. In my 6+ years as a Toastmaster, I've had the privilege to hear many icebreaker speeches. In Toastmasters, for those of you who don't know, the icebreaker speech is our first speech, during which we basically answer the question, what's your story? I've had the privilege to hear many such stories. Some of them about the joys of parenthood. I've heard stories about lessons learned the hard way or overcoming obstacles. Some of them made me laugh, some of them made me cry. But all of them taught me something about someone that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. Being a Toastmasters has given me many such opportunities. But it's not the opportunity to speak that keeps me coming back. I'm still a Toastmaster because of the opportunities Toastmaster gives me to hear others. The hidden benefit of diversity is not that the diversity makes our ideas better. Diversity makes our lives better. To put it simply, living and working and communicating in a diverse environment doesn't just make us better thinkers. It makes us better people. Thank you.